Imagine for a second you're a plumber, like the guy over my left shoulder here, and someone on social media asks you the right way to install a new sink. Granted, there's a few perhaps ways to install a sink, but you give an answer you know is correct because you've installed a lot of sinks. Facebook then flags that as misinformation. That is exactly what happened to a well-respected economist who talked about warnings of recession. Dr. Philip Magnus of the American Institute for Economic Research had posted his opinion that the U.S. is, in fact, in a technical recession. He was then slapped with a warning by Facebook, who flagged the post and said independent fact-checkers decided the post was, at least in their words, partially false. Dr. Magnus joins us now. All right, sir, let's just give somehow the White House and others the benefit of the doubt that there's an argument whether we're in a recession or not. Do you think they argued that what you said was partially false or partially politically inconvenient?
I would go with political inconvenience, and this is a pattern that we've seen multiple times in history. It's actually a repeat of the playbook that happened in the Nixon administration when we approached 2 consecutive quarters of potential negative growth, and the Nixon administration at the time sent out all of its cabinet secretaries and press agents to dispute that this was a valid definition of the recession. And we're seeing the same thing
it's not
again.
really political either way. It's just both sides do it, and we pointed that out, that the same people who are arguing we're not in a recession would have been if it was a Republican, and vice versa. What I think is interesting is, for all the debate, does 2 quarters of GDP negative growth mean a recession? 58% of Americans say, yes, we are in a recession. What are they really saying? Because almost all of them don't know what the technical definition is.
Absolutely. Well, they are reeling from hard economic times. And that basically comes from the past year or so of heavy inflationary pressures. They're seeing prices go up at the gas pump and at the grocery store. They're seeing their real take-home wage, what they're getting from their work, is not paying for as much as it did even 6 months or 8 months ago. So economic times are very tough for many Americans right now. We're still also in kind of the post-COVID era, which was a major disruption of the employment market. So all these things together have really kind of cast doubt upon our economic future.
What is the danger of not being able to have this debate?
Well, the danger I think we have already seen play out in the inflation debate. The Biden administration for almost the last year kept saying, don't worry about inflation. It is, quote, transitory inflation, until it was too late to really do anything. And now we have the Federal Reserve is engaged in this mad scramble of bumping up the interest rate as an attempt to bring inflation under control. And I think we're risking a repeat of that with the discussion and the debate and the word games around the recession. So what I would say to the Biden administration is you cannot wordsmith your way out of economic reality.
Yeah, economic reality does not normally follow a political timeline. I'm interested in this from an academic standpoint, and we put your credentials up on the screen, which are extensive, so I won't go through them individually for the sake of time. But I think about other things that Facebook has fact-checked. COVID from a lab, the Hunter Biden laptop story, which turned out to be totally true. Studies on masks in schools, which certainly had mixed results, sometimes showing that masks were ineffective at best and caused other problems. Where are we if, quote unquote, independent fact checkers have far less credentials than the people who are actually presenting these ideas and arguments?
Well, I think that's absolutely the problem we are seeing. You go to fact-checking entities from PolitiFact, which was in my case on down, and you look at the people that are actually writing these reports and determinations. They often have like a bachelor's degree in journalism or literature or some completely unrelated field, and yet they're stepping in as almost like a self-appointed arbiter of what's true or not. And even worse than that, you have companies such as Facebook and Twitter that are empowering some of these companies, these fact-checkers, through contracts and arrangements to really make this determination. And unfortunately, what you get is people that think they know a lot more about these issues. I just want to stop you.
I only got 30 seconds. But do you think they really think they know more, or they have a political agenda and then they're going to enforce that regardless of what they know or not?
Well, it's a political agenda in the sense they're picking up on talking points coming out of places like the White House. The White House is reaffirming one particular side of the debate, and they're repeating it, and conveniently, the fact check happens to align with it.
Yeah, as you well said, the White House on both sides over the past 8 years or so, we've learned can be slightly questionable sometimes on these matters. And questioning is what gives a robust democracy, a robust conversation. I know in an economics discussion as well. Professor, Doctor, it's good to see you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.